Hi, folks. Welcome into the broadcast. I will be starting in about 30 seconds. I'll be starting about 30 seconds, just doing a audio check. If you guys could give me a thumbs up on the audio, we will get started immediately. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. DutyRon back here again with an unfortunate breaking news and new video. Today, we're going to speak about our second attack on a New York City police officer in under 12 hours here in New York City in the 5 boroughs, Bronx, New York, 41st Precinct. I was live just about under 12 hours ago to talk to you about two police officers who were ambushed in their vehicle by a perpetrator who walked up to their vehicle on a street corner in the Bronx, a marked van. He asked them for directions to kind of throw them off and fired shots at the driver of the vehicle. And in less than 12 hours, this same suspect walked into the 41st precinct and opened fire on the officers right before 8 a.m. this morning, New York time, striking a lieutenant in the arm, and he was taken into custody inside the station house. Please invite your followers, subscribe to my channel, and also share this broadcast out so we can all get so we can get everybody in on this video. I was waiting to go live just to have some people join in, and so I could share it out while we were in the lobby, just waiting for this to go live. So if you can, please invite and share onto your social media platform. I greatly appreciate the shares. Send it out onto Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm going to show you a news conference right here. This is the police commissioner, the mayor, and please refrain from derogatory comments. We all do not like Mayor de Blasio, but right now is a time to focus on our police officers who are under attack. So let's keep the comments to supporting our police and not to attacking the mayor. We all know what he's about. He's going to speak, and I just ask everyone to please be respectful. I have not kind words for him, but I don't share that in a live video with somebody. So we're going to listen to the police commissioner, the mayor, and the Lieutenants Benevolent Association president, Turco. So this will be a press conference from about 11:30, about an hour ago. So I'm going to let that roll, guys. Just let me know if the audio is good.
Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I want to thank the skilled medical professionals and staff here at Lincoln Hospital.
This is the New York City Police
For
Commissioner.
the top-level care that they always provide us. Unfortunately, especially this weekend, and that's the doctors and nurses and everyone at Lincoln Hospital. You are forever, we are forever in your debt. For the second time in less than 12 hours, members of the New York City Police Department have been targeted specifically and shot in attempts to murder the very people who work so hard day and night to keep the people of this city safe. The coward from this morning's shooting is in police custody. He has a lengthy violent criminal history. He was paroled in 2017 for an incident in which an individual in the Bronx was shot, a subsequent carjacking of a female, and then a crash of a car where he engaged in a gunfight with members of the New York City Police Department. That was in 2002. He was convicted.
All right, I'm just going to stop that for a second because I failed to tell you guys about this perpetrator in the early 2000s was involved in a shooting. He shot an innocent civilian on the street. He carjacked a car. I believe they said 2002. And then he went on a wild chase where he crashed the vehicle and then engaged New York City police officers in a gun battle back in 2002. So that's around 7 years ago. Actually, longer than that. That was a long time ago. He did time and got out, I believe, in 2017. He went to jail for attempted murder, ×2, attempted murder of the person he shot and the police officer. And Commissioner Shea is going to explain that to you guys here. So I just wanted to let you know that that's what he's saying.
Attempted murder and was a subsequent carjacking of a female and custody. He has a lengthy violent criminal history. He was paroled in 2017 for an incident in which an individual in the Bronx was shot, a subsequent carjacking of a female, and then a crash of a car where he engaged in a gunfight with members of the New York City Police Department. That was in 2002. He was convicted of attempted murder and was paroled in 2017. At this time, we are confident that he is the same person who attempted to assassinate our police officers last night. As was the case last night, unfortunately, I am joined here by many people, and thank you for your support, elected officials and police department employees alike. Again, everything that we will say this morning is preliminary and subject to change as our investigation is still in its very early stages. Before I get into some of the details, Mayor de Blasio will say a few words.
Thank you, Commissioner. First of all, I want to say thank God our officers are alive, and thank God that our officers are the caliber of people that they are to handle a situation like this. I want everyone to understand. A Sunday morning, the 4-1 precinct, what should have been a quiet time, and suddenly an assailant arrives with the intention of assassinating police officers and opens fire. These officers handled such a horrific situation with heroism, with extraordinary skill.
By the way, I have video of this perpetrator coming in to the precinct. It got out to the media. I'm not going to play it here. I'm going to refrain from playing it, but it is available online through Twitter, through Facebook, through all the social media outlets. It's an actual footage of this guy walking into the precinct and engaging officers in a gun battle. He only stopped shooting because he ran out of bullets or his gun jammed. So there is video, I have it, but I'm going to opt not to play it because I feel that it's important in the investigation, and I don't want to corrupt an investigation by putting out a video of something that was taken inside the precinct. So there is a live video. It is available if you guys want to see it. I won't show it here because I want to keep the integrity of the investigation. So, but it is publicly available. I just won't contribute to that.
Thank God that each and every one of them will be okay. We have 2 officers injured. They will be okay in the end. But what happened and the way they handled this horrific situation is a reminder of the caliber of the men and women of the NYPD. But I want to go back to this point. This was an attempt to assassinate police officers. We need to use that word because it was a premeditated effort to kill, and not just to kill other human beings, but to kill those who wear a uniform that represents all of us. We have to understand this as a city, as a nation. Our entire society has to understand an attack on a police officer is an attack on all of us. It's an attack on a democratic society, a decent society. And it's intolerable. And we will not accept it. And we will fight back with everything we have, because we have to protect not only New Yorkers, but everything that we believe in this city. A place where everyone can live in peace and decency and mutual respect. This individual attempted to destroy that. Thank God he was stopped by our men and women in uniform. Everyone needs to join with your prayers, with your thoughts for these officers, for their families that are going through so much. Again, just picture yourself on a Sunday morning at work and bullets start flying all around you. This is what we ask of our officers, that they be able to handle anything and everything for us. And I repeat what I had to say last night. Anyone who spews hatred at our officers is aiding and abetting this kind of atmosphere. It's not acceptable. You can protest for whatever you believe in, but you cannot vilely attack those who are here to protect us. It creates this kind of dynamic. I want to join the Commissioner in thanking everyone at Lincoln Hospital for their extraordinary work. I want to thank all the people in the community who have come out here in support of our officers. And a special thank you to our elected officials, Speaker Corey Johnson, DA Clark, Borough President Diaz, Assemblymember Crespo, Councilmember Salamanca, Councilmember Gibson, all of them for being here in support of our officers. Thank you.
So just before 8 o'clock this morning, less than 12 hours.
Okay, so he's going to give the timeline of what happened. So everybody listen up, and I apologize that I'm not engaging in the chat. Thank you for becoming a channel member, Angel. I appreciate that, and thank you to anyone who supports this live stream. Thank you.
From being here last night, a man walked into the 41st Precinct Station House on Longwood Avenue here in the Bronx. Captured on video from within the precinct station house, he immediately pulls out a gun and fires multiple rounds towards the desk area where several uniformed members of the service in uniform were present. He then walks into an area beside that desk and again fires several rounds at point-blank range directly at uniformed members of the service and a civilian member of the New York City Police Department, striking none in that room. It is only by the grace of God and the heroic actions of those inside the building that took him into custody that we are not talking about police officers murdered inside a New York City police precinct. In this chaos, which took seconds to transpire, a male lieutenant was shot one time through his upper left arm, roughly right here. That lieutenant returned fire, and the male suspect was not struck. As I said, the suspect was quickly taken into custody, and the firearm was secured by police. That firearm, which as we work through the day and night will now be linked to see if it matches last night's, is a 9mm.
Okay, so there's the exact same firearm looking what we saw in last night's video that we showed of the perpetrator walking in the street with it. And then there was a zoom in of that firearm actually in the perpetrator's hand holding. And I have two pictures I will show you of the perpetrator from last night and the same perpetrator from this morning wearing different clothing in the precinct, doing his second shooting and attempt to murder New York City police officers. So I have two pictures of him, and we have the picture of this gun that Police Commissioner Shea is showing at this time.
Sig Sauer. I will point out that this coward immediately laid down, but only after he ran out of bullets. Both the police officer and the lieutenant, and the police officer last night that was struck in the chin and the neck, and the lieutenant that was struck in the left arm today, are expected to fully recover and will be released hopefully sooner more than later. I'm going to turn it over to Lou Turco. Lou, from the LBA. and then I'll take some questions when Lou speaks.
This is the Lieutenant's Benevolent
Thank you,
President.
Commissioner. Real quick, I want to reiterate what the Commissioner and the Mayor said. I want to thank Lincoln Hospital.
I'm pausing it for 1 second because I want everyone to pay attention to this is Lou Turco. He's the president of the LBA, the Lieutenants Benevolent Association. He represents the Lieutenants Union and all the members of the New York City Police Department who are lieutenants in that rank. And he brings up something that Pat Lynch didn't bring up because of what was going on. But Lou Turco brings up bail reform here. So I want you guys to understand and listen to what he said here. It takes guts and balls for him to talk about this with the mayor standing there. But most of our union leaders don't give two flying craps about the mayor. They're not happy with him. And this is a direct dig straight to all the politicians, including Governor Cuomo and everyone who was behind New York State's bail reform law, which is a total bag of shit. It is a total bag of garbage that not only puts the public in danger, but it also puts the police officers in extreme danger. And this is a prime example of what bail reform has done to New York City.
Really, for the amount of work they put in and what they did for us, I want to thank you. Today is a reminder of what our job's like. And the men and women in that 41st precinct heroically ran after this individual, not knowing exactly what he was going to do. We were lucky today. Lucky last night with two officers sitting in a car in an RMP, turret lights going. Today sitting in a station house Sunday morning, an individual walks in and shoots up the place. We are so lucky. And if it wasn't for the men and women of the 41st precinct, it could have been even worse than this. But this is a reminder to the residents of the city of New York. There are people like this out there. He's a career criminal. If he has the audacity to shoot at officers in uniform, guess what he's doing to the civilians of this city? There's a lot of these people out there. We need to get in front of this criminal justice reform. We need to work together to fix this thing, because right now the cities of New York residents are in danger because of this. We have to get in front of this. There's a lot of these individuals out there, but thank God today he didn't take any of our officers out. Thank you.
Take some questions.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'm playing this
Real quick,
again.
I want to reiterate what the Commissioner and the Mayor said. I want to thank Lincoln Hospital, really, for the amount of work they put in and what they did for us. I want to thank you. Today is a reminder of what our job's like. And the men and women in that 41st precinct heroically ran after this individual, not knowing exactly what he was going to do. We were lucky today. Lucky last night with two officers sitting in a car in an RMP, turret lights going. Today sitting in a station house Sunday morning, an individual walks in and shoots up the place. We are so lucky. And if it wasn't for the men and women of the 41st precinct, it could have been even worse than this. But this is a reminder to the residents of the city of New York. There are people like this out there. He's a career criminal. If he has the audacity to shoot at officers in uniform, guess what he's doing to the civilians of this city? There's a lot of these people out there. We need to get in front of this criminal justice reform. We need to work together to fix this thing, because right now the cities of New York residents are in danger because of this. We have to get in front of this.
Retired Irish Detective.
There's a lot of these individuals out there, but thank God today he didn't take any of our officers out. Thank you.
Well said. Well
Take
said,
some
Lou.
questions. There was a woman present in the general area, and the investigation is ongoing.
Any concerns about precinct security? This guy didn't walk behind a public area and get to an area with cars.
Okay, so for those of you who can't hear this reporter, because it's hard for me to hear him and I have headphones in, this reporter said, is it easy for the public to walk into a New York City Police Department precinct? And what about the precinct security? I've worked when I was in housing in PSA 2 with Retired Irish Detective. I've worked station house security, and basically it was a lot, I'm sure it's different now. A lot of the station houses have petitions where the public can't come all the way in. But like back in the day, you could just basically walk in. And I can recall back in the early 90s, Retired Irish Detective can confirm this, we had a suspect walk in with a machete one night and was soaked with blood, had just murdered somebody, and came walking right into our PSA 2 on Sutter Avenue, and was swinging a machete around in our open area right in front of the desk. And then again, another person walked in with a gun, who had just gotten shot and then collapsed in the lobby of our. Those are two incidents that come to my mind about precinct security. So this reporter asked, how secure and how safe is it for someone to walk into the precinct? And I want you guys to hear what the PC says. And this is what Mayor de Blasio is all about. He's all about having total access to the police with the public. And this is a different day and age we live in, folks. And I guarantee if there was a different type of mayor, and I'm not going to mention any names, but a different type of mayor that was a little bit tougher on security and crime, that the station houses wouldn't be accessible to the public as it is right now. So let this roll, and I'll let you hear Police Commissioner's response. And he basically is a puppet for the mayor because he's been, appointed by Mayor de Blasio, so he's not going to say anything derogatory here. This is a bad position that he's in.
Yep. He didn't walk behind the public area. He walked in as people do. And Miles, that's the balance that we strike. We have to protect our officers in blue and the civilians that work in the precincts, but we also want an engaging atmosphere where people engage. And people come into our precincts literally every day throughout the day, 365 days a year for a number of for activities. So we will take a look. We will take a look at our policies and procedures and do everything that we can to make sure that we strengthen if necessary.
You strike that balance, because yesterday it's the same thing. He walks up to a police vehicle, and engages with the officers, and it's the same thing.
And that's what is most frightening about this. This is not a crime gone bad. This is not a liquor store robbery interrupted that a tragedy erupts from. This is a premeditated assassination attempt. And I said it last night. But just remember, these things are not unrelated. We had people marching through the streets of New York City recently. It brings me immediately back to 2014, where we had the same thing right before Ramos and Lou.
Okay, he's referring to the march that was in New York City yesterday with Black Lives Matter, and they were chanting on the microphone, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Now. What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Now. That's Black Lives Matter, and those are the people who I despise, and I'm open about it. Anybody that's anything or backs up anything to do with Black Lives Matter, you could leave my broadcast, you can unfollow me, you could block me, you could do whatever you want. But these are the people who create this type of environment through their chanting and through their bullshit that they do in the streets. And that's what the police commissioner is referring to right here, guys. I'll set it back.
We had people marching in New York City last week, and I condemned it, and I condemn it right here again today.
Because of what they were saying.
Using profanities.
What do we want?
Against the police department.
Dead cops. When do we want it? Now. And de Blasio
Everyone should be speaking out against this.
He said, let's let them go.
And you have to be careful about the words you use, whether it's on social media or in written bad. This is not a liquor store robbery interrupted that a tragedy erupts from. This is a premeditated assassination attempt. And I said it last night. But just remember, these things are not unrelated. We had people marching through the streets of New York City recently.
Here we go.
It brings me immediately back to 2014, where we had the same thing right before Ramos and Lou.
Those are two cops executed in their car.
In New York City last week, and I condemned it, and I condemn it right here again today. Using profanities of New York City recently. It brings me immediately back to 2014, where we had the same thing right before Ramos and Lou. We had people marching in New York City last week, and I condemned it, and I condemn it right here again today. Using profanities against the police department. Everyone should be speaking out against this. And you have to be careful about the words you use, whether it's on social media or in written papers.
Meanwhile, he backed it up.
Because words matter, and words affect people's behavior. And here
those are the words he's referring to.
Police officers twice in 12 hours targeted. And again, by the grace of God, that we're not planning a funeral.
Would you describe the woman that was arrested as the suspect's girlfriend?
No comment. It's very preliminary in the investigation.
Okay, the media is pushing for, there was a female arrested allegedly there was a female, Astro Haterade, welcome to the DutyRon family. Allegedly there was a female who dropped this guy, this perpetrator, off at the precinct, and she was alleged, and I read this in a police chat room, to be a former New York City cop, his girlfriend. It's not confirmed. I don't know if that's true, but there is some tie to the female who they have in custody right now as being a former either retired cop or a former cop that was either fired or quit or whatever. These are all just rumors that are swirling. So that's why the news and that's why the press is pressing him about this female, because they got that information. I have my good friend who is the detective in charge of DCPI, and I could reach out to him. I'm not going to bother him now because he's busy, but I'll get further confirmation on that, and I'll let you guys know in another broadcast.
The male is in custody. We are speaking to a woman, and I would not describe her as a suspect.
Was this suspect known as someone who made persistent threats against the police other than the 2002 incident, or was there any other contact that the police and the NYPD had with the suspect?
Very, very preliminary. I'll just reiterate what I said already. In 2002, he was arrested and convicted for attempted murder, and as part of that incident, he shot an individual, he carjacked a woman escaping from it, and in the ensuing flight from that incident in 2002, he crashed the woman's car that he carjacked and got into a gun battle with New York City police officers. Since then, he has one recorded arrest, and he happens to have court in the coming days for that arrest.
Was the suspect saying anything during either of the...
Okay, I'm not going to say anything more. This guy has a long arrest history for attempted murder going back to 2002. And now here we are, fast forward to 2020. He tried to murder police officers on two different occasions in a 12-hour period. Barbara Smith, thank you. She says, I love your mods and your polite chat room. Thank you, Barbara. So this is a career criminal who is walking the streets. He had a court date coming up, and that was the message that the news was asking.
I'm not going to get into it.
Welcome in,
Very
Rouse
preliminary.
Trucking.
Fred, Commissioner and Mayor, what was your reaction to Trump's recent inflammatory tweet about weak New York City leadership bringing on these?
I'm not going to get into that today. This is about our officer that was just targeted for attempted murder, and as part of
She
that
just asked
incident,
about
he
President
shot an
Trump.
individual,
Let's listen to that
he
again.
carjacked a woman escaping from it, and in the ensuing flight from that incident in 2002, he crashed the woman's car that he carjacked and got into a gun battle with New York City police officers. Since then, he has one recorded arrest, and he happens to have court in the coming days for that arrest.
Was the suspect saying anything during either of the events?
I'm not going to get into it. It's very preliminary.
Fred, Commissioner and Mayor, what was your reaction to Trump's recent inflammatory tweet about weak New York City leadership bringing on these?
I'm not going to get into that today. This is about our officer that was just targeted.
She asked about President Trump's tweet
We'll have further
about.
information throughout the day in terms
Hold
of
on, let me pause it.
additional information. We'll liaise.
So she asked about President Trump's recent tweet about bail reform, and de Blasio, you could hear him mumble when he said it. That's not what we're going to get into. He said exactly. So de Blasio was dismissing it too, and I agree. You shouldn't engage in that. You shouldn't engage in a political thing where it's about these police officers that are getting attacked right now.
On with DCPI.
Maybe we hear from the chief surgeon just about the officer who was shot today and the officer shot yesterday, how they're doing, and what the extent of those injuries are.
Sure, Eli. The lieutenant today was roughly 15 years on the force.
Both of the officers
This is
are
the chief
recovering
surgeon,
and, doing
New York
very
City
well, and
surgeon.
We expect them to have a full recovery. There were very serious injuries last night and today, narrowly missing vital structures in both the neck and in the arm, respectively. But we expect them to make a full recovery. Thank you.
I'll just finish up. Any last questions? Yes.
Animals that are on police vehicles, how can you avoid something like this from happening again? Or are you thinking of how you might create new vehicles going forward or anything?
Yeah. Well, specifically with last night's incident, that's part of the investigation going forward. It is hours since that incident took place. We know that bullets were fired at the marked police van last night. Some penetrated that vehicle. I'm not prepared to say at this point if any struck that bulletproof glass, but we'll be looking at that going forward. Yes, we do. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude this live stream. Again, my thoughts and prayers are to all of the officers who are affected. Thank you so much, Pat, for becoming a channel member. Thank you to all new channel members here. I greatly appreciate you guys becoming part of the family. Pat, I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone who has come aboard, Karen, and all of the DutyRon family. Again, this is an attack on a society at large. This is an attack on all our police. Gary D, thank you so much for that super chat. I appreciate it. It's an attack on society. It's not just an attack on a police. When our police get attacked like this is all things coming together, and we need to stop it. We need to stop it now. Barbara Smith, thank you for becoming a member of the DutyRon family. Please go over to my Facebook page and send me a message, new members, so I can let you join in on the private members only Facebook group. So thank you to the new members and all the super chatters.
Welcome to the DutyRon family.
And there it is. Welcome to the DutyRon family. Again, ladies and gentlemen, as a retired New York City police detective, I did 20 years in the New York City Police Department. And I got to say, we are at a state of affairs that it is really bad, and it is due to our political climate. It's due to the laws.
To the DutyRon family.
Welcome to the family. It's due to the bail reform laws and the lax policing that's going on out there. The hands-off approach and strategy does not work. I can tell you, I worked as a patrol cop when the hands-on strategy was in place.
Thank you for the super love.
Stop and frisk and all of the methods that were in place to reduce crime that are all been removed. It's not working, folks. It's not working. And we're going to have public, our people, when you come to visit here, you're talking about a less safe city. And when you live here in this great New York City area, which has a lot to offer, and you got a police department that has their hands tied, this is the direct results of what happens. Crime goes through the roof because you have an atmosphere of lawlessness. And that's about all I'll say. I don't want to get into a whole political thing. Old school policing worked under the Giuliani administration. I don't care what anybody thought or thinks of that guy at this current time. But when he was the mayor, I worked for him. I worked for Mayor Dinkins. I worked for Bloomberg. And I got to tell you, this is something that I've never seen before, the way things are going right now. And it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So prayers to our New York City Police Department and all the members of the service. I say, again, may you guys and gals be safe out there. Watch your back, watch your surroundings, and never, ever get complacent. Always keep your peripheral vision open, and tactics saves lives, as we know. Tactics saves lives. Never leave your guard down. For those of you who are listening to the replay that are part of the active family from a retired old school detective, I say, don't ever leave your guard down. So guys, much love and respect from my house to yours. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday. I will bring you updates as they become available. This perpetrator is in custody, and there is a video out there where you could see this perpetrator come into the 401 precinct, and you could see that on social media. I am opting not to put it here. Thank you to the new channel members, my Patreon supporters, my comment section, and all of my people who support me through Super Chat and just love and respect. So from my house to yours, thank you guys all. Enjoy your Sunday, and I will speak to you on the next live stream. Thank you.